Yo, 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 what's good on the hood? UFC Fight Night Qatar just wrapped up about an hour or so ago. And I want to do a quick little recap of what I saw because I'm not going to lie, as a fight night, it's always hit or miss. And this one it was a banger. I mean, if you're just going down the list, one finish, two finish, three finish, four finish, five finish, six finish, seven finish. There was a lot of finishes and a lot of superb ones. I'm gonna jump right into it, just like I did with the prior prediction. Go right into the top two fights with a special attention to one below. But let's jump right into it. Bilal Muhammad, Ian Machado Gary. This was an interesting fight. I predicted this would go to decision, especially with it being 3 rounds. Of course, it went to a decision. And I mean, Ian looked good. I mean, Ian was definitely piecing up. He was doing a lot on those leg kicks. Those like kind of like they were like T push kicks to the upper leg, almost trying to go for that knee, kind of like what John Jones will do, just try to buckle it. Uh, Bilal wasn't really checking those kicks. It was weird. It was like Bilal at the very beginning was like, I'm gonna strike, and he was doing decent on the striking. I mean, round one, 30 to 31. Um, 24 to 27 on significant strikes. And then round two, obviously Ian starts to break away, 35 to 28, 11 to 20. And then round three, I mean, wow, Bilal 39 to 30, 21 to 25. Because I want to say it was a split. I swear that maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was a split. Maybe I'm wrong. Definitely wrong. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say the fight was what I expected, but also Bilal, I'm surprised he just couldn't get the takedown. I mean, takedowns 0 for 7. I don't think Bilal was one of the. I mean, he's an upper tier wrestler in the division, but I always felt like he was better on stopping the takedown than he was on imposing it. Like him versus Islam. Quick quick comparison would be Islam. He's probably equal or better when it comes to just general wrestling defense and knowledge. But Islam can actually offensively push it with trips, deep double legs, as we obviously saw at JDM last week. Bilal, I mean, I was surprised. I mean, Ian looked pretty big, stature wise, and all that, and that was always going to be an issue. These wrestlers, they're facing these long, lanky guys, and Ian did a great job of using the cage every time Bilal pushed against him to then eventually work that over under, break the grip, and circle out. And yeah, I mean, this looked very. I mean, he was definitely getting pieced up a little bit here and there by Bilal, so that's never when you're getting pieced up on the feet by Bilal, that's never a good look. But I mean, Ian said in his press conference after it, at the very least, this shows. I think it shows his toughness. It shows Ian can take a crack to give a crack, and it showed, hey, he can defend takedowns. He can game plan around that, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do if he were to get the title shot against Islam. I still think it was not impressive enough to probably, uh, to warrant it. And I think he's also alluded to he would like to do some collaboration with Marab. Yes, Marab the Machine, and go down to Georgia to get some wrestling knowledge. Because let's be real, Bilal is a big step down, I would say, to Mr. Creatine welterweight Islam, as we saw last week. So I still don't think Ian has a chance of beating him, but he showed that he can game plan very well, and he did exactly what I expected. Constant movement, circling, peppering that jab, heavy on the leg kicks. Bilal, I don't know. Bilal he was not checking those. Who knows if that eye poke in the first round did as much damage as Bilal is probably gonna cry about, and justifiably so. I mean, you get poked in the eye, first round, it's not good, especially with only 2 rounds to spare. But yeah, Ian looked great. Matchup wise, I think, let's see the rankings. Welterweight. So we have number 6, Ian. He just beat number 2, Bilal. So Bilal is probably gonna drop 3, I would imagine. Ian's gonna be ahead of him. Ian's probably gonna be around 3 or 2, I would guess. So he's probably gonna be behind JDM. And the fact that he has the loss to Shavkat, so it's going to linger, especially with Shavkat coming back. But yeah, he's probably top 3 now. I'd say if he doesn't get Islam, maybe take JDM. I think that's a winnable fight. Morales kind of scary. I don't know if he wants that. That power is very. I don't know. I think Morales, he could definitely win it too, but I think JDM would be a good one. depending on where Islam goes, and especially if Islam's taking a lot of break for Ramadan. So give him JDM because JDM's gonna need something to come back to, and JDM didn't take a lot of damage, frankly. So well, JDM's gonna be a sad boy for the next couple of weeks, which he should be. I think that would be a good, fun matchup. To put Gian on the placeholder while they try to clean up the top of the division, kind of match everyone up, depending on how Islam wants to play it out. The main event. Also, I expected that heavy ground and pound. It was much faster than I thought. I mean, Arman looked pretty good on the feet. He was piecing up Dan on the feet, which was surprising because at first Dan, he was showing that range where it's like, oh, like Armin's gonna have to get kind of close to actually do some damage. And obviously, he was pretty profound on his takedowns, 2 for 4. But I mean, the strikes say it all. 42-10 significant strikes, 69-17. Well, that's full fight. Round 1, 32-9, 19-5, 1 for 3 on takedowns. Round 2, 1 for 1. It was a clean takedown. He was threatened at times with the guillotine, but he you go look this up after. I almost never see that where he would get into like the guillotine pretty deep, and Arben essentially did like a quick 360, popped out of it, and got immediately into his guard. And it was like, wow, like clearly Armen, working with the Wolf, Chimaev and all that. Clearly his jiu-jitsu awareness is top notch when it comes to, hey, I'm a wrestler. I tend to put my head on that side. Guillotine's one of my deadliest weapons, to face against. So he was on point with all that. But yeah, his striking, his power on the feet, he connected with Dan a few times where it was like, oh, he cracked Dan. There was an accidental head clash, it looks like, which may have caused that giant hematoma on Dan. But also a lot of those elbows that he was dropping down, which, like I said, I predicted that was going to be some real damage. Where Dan, he's not bad on jiu-jitsu. He might be a black belt, but black belts are given out left and right these days. Cough, cough, Derek Moneybug. But yeah, Dan the odds were like plus 500 to like negative 800 in favor of Arman, and they showed like Dan, he got a few strikes off, but once he would go to the ground, Dan had no way of getting up, and Arman would just cause constant damage. And then he was like a head and arm choke, it looks like, and he didn't even get his legs on the side of the body. Like he just like ripped that. With just, I feel like he definitely had a good squeeze, and he had some definitely some leverage, but I was actually kind of surprised he got that. But Dan definitely took a lot of damage leading into that submission, and yeah, this is a really good performance to Arman. This is, I think, outside of getting like a flash knockout in the first round, this was probably the best Arman could have looked going into what's next. Obviously, Ilya was in the stands or whatever. They didn't bring him in, but he called out Ilya. Ilya, we're expecting, is probably going to fight around January, February range, mostly maybe like February. Definitely going to put him on one of those early Paramount cards. I'd say put him up against him. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, UFC is a business, and Ilya is, great for business. Arman, I don't think is bad for business. Like, he has a big following, but Ilya is definitely, the fact that he has that super fight with Islam waiting at welterweight for triple belt status, something that no one's achieved yet. That's something that they definitely would like to have in the back of their pocket because if Ilya loses, it doesn't make any sense to, put him in front of Islam, at welterweight. But I would say Ilya versus Arman. Put that at February, and then maybe match up Gaethje if he doesn't retire with Paddy. You have Max and Charles. That covers up the top of the division. Dan's coming off a loss. Gamrot coming off a loss. Yeah, I like that. So, and before we wrap this up, I have to put a special attention to my boy, Where's Waldo, Mr. Cortez. Man came off 2 days' notice, flew like a fair amount of distance on 2 days' notice. He flies, comes across the world, goes in there against Shamil, who's, while he is a little chubby, definitely was a dangerous prospect. Definitely something that it didn't make much sense for Waldo coming off, I believe, his 5th fight this year. And he called out someone to fight in December. He didn't really. I think he was calling out like Curse Blade or something, just because I think of the rankings. Like, let's see, heavyweight. Curse Blades is 4. Waldo's 6. Shamil was 11. Waldo does have a loss to Pavlich, but yeah, other than that, he's had a good amount of wins. And like I said, he has 4 wins this year. I would not expect him to be the most active fighter, and I would not expect him to be so, especially coming off a tough fight where he got eye poked pretty bad. But this might be the underrated fighter of the year. If this guy, if you can get him a fight against someone in December, someone in the, like I said, in the top 4, top 3, maybe a rematch against Surge, but that probably doesn't make any sense. I'd say give him Curse Blades. Obviously, it's dangerous. Blades is a striker. Well, yeah, he's a striker, but he's gonna take you down. And um, Waldo, he definitely has some knowledge of the takedown defense, but at the end of the day, he's a striker by heart. He's got that jab. He's got that right. And I mean, obviously, it showed it does damage when it clicks, but yeah, I think UFC should maximize on this. When you have a guy like this that has a strong, I believe he's Cuban, so like he has this a small little that's definitely growing country behind him, a good following, and the fact that he's just so active and you can keep promoting that. UFC should eat that stuff up, especially if he can get a win on December, slap him on one of the big Paramount cards, put him in like a title limit against like Volkov or something. I don't know, or like the loser of Tom and Cyril. He could be the backup for Tom and Cyril. It doesn't matter. You got to take advantage when a guy like this is walking around with an eye patch. He's giving out eye patches to like Bisping on his post fight interview. I don't know if Bisping was putting that on his blind eye or not, but it's gold. UFC should eat this up. Overall, the card was great. We got multiple, I think, potential future contenders for their respective belts lined up. So they got to pounce on this. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe. I'm gonna try to come up with some more next week.